up guys, welcome back to Healthy Recipe. We're going to be making a delicious pizza today. Actually probably about 2 pizzas. We're going to make the dough from scratch. It's going to be absolutely delicious, zero oil, super vibrant and colorful. We're going to make it our own with some fresh ingredients. So let's get right to work. Alright, so this is the ingredients that we're going to be using. Now don't get intimidated because it seems like a lot of ingredients. Really, this is kind of like 2 separate recipes because we're making the dough from scratch. So we're going to do a pizza dough and then we're going to do the pizza. We're going to top it. So this is basically the ingredients that we're going to be using for this entire project, which should yield about 2 pizzas. So here I have about 2 cups of diced baby portobellos, sliced actually, in quarters. I cut them in half and then sliced them. I have 800 grams of flour. This is, I believe, this is just regular all-purpose flour. They say that bread flour makes better pizza dough, but I've used all-purpose flour, organic, and it's always worked out amazing for me for making my doughs. So 800 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of yeast. These are about 2 Roma tomatoes diced. About 3 tablespoons of fresh oregano minced. You can use dry oregano if you don't have fresh. We just have it in the garden. 500 milliliters of warm water. I'm using garlic salt to put into my dough to give it a garlicky taste. You could also use fresh garlic. Red onions, about 1 cup, sliced, feathered. I'm also using white onion to give kind of like a color contrast. It'll look nicer, and white onions are a little bit sweeter. Black olives, this is 1 can. I just minced them myself, they were whole. And about 1 cup of your favorite marinara sauce. You could use spaghetti sauce, you can make your own, whatever you like. So basically this is all the ingredients that we have. First step we're going to do is we're going to get our dough going, and then we're going to set it aside. Alright, so first thing we're going to drop our flour in, and we're going to add in our dry ingredients. I'm going to use about 1 tablespoon of this Lawry's garlic salt. It's a heaping tablespoon really. Don't be shy. It's going to add nice garlicky flavor. And then we're going to add our dry yeast. And now we're going to mix this together to make sure it's mixed thoroughly. Now to this, you're going to start adding in our water. And you always want to leave a little bit out to add. And then if it ends up being too watery, you could always add more flour. But these amounts come out pretty good. I've done this dough many times. So we're going to get it mixing like that, and we're going to kind of mash it together. Add some more in. And you could actually do this on a larger scale, make more, so you don't have to keep making messes all the time. You're gonna make a pizza and you can actually freeze it, and then anytime you're gonna make a pizza, you just pull it out. And this is all organic. This, as you guys can see, this dough only has 3 ingredients. When you buy dough at the store, like Walmart makes their own dough, and Publix, we have a store called Publix here in Florida that makes their own dough. We used to buy it, but we looked at the ingredients and it had so many preservatives. I mean, the list of ingredients was incredible. So this is a lot better. It's all natural, organic flour. And it's got no oil, no preservatives. Nothing that might, harm us in the long run. We don't eat a lot of pizza because it's still processed. You're using flour. But if you're gonna eat it, this is probably the best way to do it. Plus, it's fun. All right, so this just needs just a little tiny bit more water. See how much is left? So this is almost like a perfect amount for it. You want to just scrape the sides of the bowl. You just want to kind of knead it a little bit just to get the elasticity of that gluten working. And if you got any on your fingers, just kind of take it off. Like right now it's a little bit wet, but as you knead it, it's going to become more dry and doughy. And you could always add a little bit of flour in it. Just about a tablespoon of flour because it's a little wet. Maybe a tablespoon and a half there. And we're just going to get it. This should get it perfect. There we go. Just needed a little tiny bit of flour to get it right where we want it. See, and this is really how you want your dough. So now what we're going to do is just going to leave it aside for about 30 to 45 minutes and put it into a ball. And we're going to leave it aside with some saran wrap or a tea towel, wet tea towel over it. And then we're going to come back and punch it in, cut it, and then roll it out for our pizza. And that should be pretty much it. Alright, so as you can see, the dough has about more than doubled in size. I'm going to just punch it down. Get it into a ball. And I'm going to cut it in half to create 2 pizza doughs. Put a little bit of flour down. And my spatula, just cut it down the middle. Set one aside. And we're going to work this one. I'm not by any means an expert pizza maker, so bear with me. I just done this quite a few times, enough to know how to make a good pizza. So basically we're just going to roll it out. Temper down, then we're going to use a rolling pin. So you get nice and stretchy. Roll it out in all directions. Flip it. And it's elastic, so it's going to come back at you. You're just going to kind of want to keep working it. Just like that. Keep stretching it until you get it to about the size you want it. I like my crust thin, so I work it, pretty thin. Then we're going to transfer it to our pan, just like so. and I'm just gonna pull it. And in some places where it's thicker, I'm gonna pull from that to make it fill the pan as much as possible. I'll come to as close to looking like a circle as I can. Always a work in progress. But this is pretty good. It's gonna rise some a little bit. It's gonna become a little bit puffier in the oven. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add some sauce. Kind of paint it on. Like I said, you can use whatever type of pizza sauce or marinara sauce you like. This sauce is a little bit thin. I don't use a lot of sauce. To me, really good pizza is in the dough. That's, to me, the most important part of a pizza. How that dough cooks, looks, the texture, and the feel. It's, to me, the most important. So now, I'm going to add some toppings. This is a vegan pizza. And it's also trying to make it as healthy as possible. I'm not using any vegan cheeses or anything like that. I prefer not using those because they have a ton of fat. So I try to keep this no oil and as low fat as possible. Add some onion, a little bit of red onion. You guys can see how we're starting to get a little bit of color on there, a little bit of contrast. Some yellow bell peppers would have been beautiful. Just didn't have any on hand. We work with what we got. You guys know we're all going through some tough times, so money's a little tight, so we try to be frugal. Don't spend too much on food. This is a delicious recipe. Costs you about maybe $1.50 to make, and it's still healthy. Now we're gonna add mushrooms. These baby portobellos are actually really cheap. You buy them at Sam's Club, and they're actually really cheap. And you're adding another nutrient variety to your food. So that's pretty much that. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of our fresh oregano from the garden right over the top, and that's going to add some sweetness and some beautiful pasta flavor that we're associated with pizza. That oregano is one of the flavors that we associate when we taste a good pasta sauce or a good pizza, especially when it's fresh like this. That's going to release its oils into that pizza and add an amazing amount of flavor, and it's going to contrast the sourness of the marinara with some sweetness from that oregano. So now we're going to go in the oven at 450 degrees from 12 to 15 minutes, depending on how hot your oven is. Once the edges start to puff up and look nice and golden, you'll know that this is done. Alright, so this is what came out of that dough recipe, the 800 grams. You can see two very good sized pizzas. This is probably, enough to feed a few people. Super healthy, no fat, like I said. Look at how nice the crust is, nice and golden. It puffs up around the sides like real pizza. It's got a beautiful golden crust underneath it, as you guys can see. It's beautiful around the edges. Look at this here. Perfect. Just like if it came out of a pizza oven with a regular house oven. So super delicious. We're going to go ahead and cut it, and then I'm going to give it a taste for you guys. Alright, so I'm just going to cut this the best I can. I don't have a pizza wheel. Just cut it down the middle. Like that. And then one more time. Somebody's gonna get some bigger slices, but that's okay. There we go. So it's cut. And I'm gonna put a little bit of nucho over the top. Nutritional yeast, just to give it a little bit of a cheesy flavor without adding the fat. Look how beautiful that looks now. Amazing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab a slice of this and give it a taste for you guys. Look how nice and puffy it is. It's got some nice density and golden, beautifully golden underneath. So the dough came out perfect. Wow. It's fluffy, but it has a little bit of crunch on the crust on the bottom. The pizza sauce could have been a little bit better. I could have used a nicer sauce. It's a little skimpy, but the flavor of the crust and the fresh veggies, the fresh oregano on there, absolutely delicious. Just wish I would have used a better sauce next time.